Yes, people, and welcome back to the channel. And in today's video, we're going to take a look at a clip from one of Logan Paul's vlogs with his brother Jake Paul. And I wanted to take a little bit of a deep look at it because when I was listening to it, I think this is where the circumference of people are going. As Christians, you've had the opposition for atheists, people not believing in God. And now I think the next opposition is something a little bit deeper, maybe even a little bit darker.
Dude, how's your spirituality?
Very spiritual, but not super deep into one particular religion. I have a direct relationship with God that doesn't need to be morphed into a set of rules or ideas currently. I do like different parts of Christianity, Catholic, and I haven't had time to sit there and learn more about them. That's the thing.
Yeah, I think religion can be beautiful for a lot of reasons. For me, I've had a evolving relationship with God, and I think it's because I've felt God both positively and negatively in my life a lot, and those effects are directly related to the conversation that I'm having with God, or if I'm not having any conversation at all or disrespecting him. And so yeah, really spiritual. I have yet to subscribe to a religion per se, but I'm keeping my mind open. And I feel like my relationship with God has gotten extremely strong in the past 2 years or so. I will say I've personally felt it extremely powerful to just have that conversation with God, just speak into the universe. It's all energy and it's all flowing and it can come back to you. That's what I felt anyways. And so keep your mind open, keep your heart open, and don't be closed off to the idea that there is a higher power, because there definitely is.
So to be honest, they said a couple of really good things, right? They said a couple of really good things there. The relational side, they got that ticked. The aspect to grasp that there's a God, they kind of got that ticked. But where it's going, I don't think they've got that ticked. And honestly, from my experience of conversations and conversations that you see online, I think a lot of people are fine now accepting the existence of a God, that a God exists, which is good. Honestly, I think that's a great thing, because you've had the atheistic wave where it's like there can't be a God, doesn't exist, and then you've kind of, in the apologetic scene, people have had to battle that. They've come up with rebuttals, and I think we've come away from that, and I think we're going more into, like they've said, a wave of spirituality, which in one hand that's positive. And I'll tell you why I think it's positive. I think it's positive because if you can come to the conclusion that a God exists, Jesus is much more of an option. But if you just don't believe it exists at all and you're not having any of it, how can you believe in Jesus? Okay, do you know what I'm saying? So if you try to take some positives, right, that's a positive. And if they can have a conversation with someone who can articulate that, they don't have to get it straight away. But if they can go away, they think about things, God works in their hearts, like that. It's a process. That's how things happen. It's a complete process. It's not going to hit people like a ton of bricks sometimes. People are going to have to process these things, because Christianity, Jesus, God, they can be as simple or as complicated as you want them to be. And just from looking at people like these, like men like these, who are obviously deep thinkers, hardworking people, I can't imagine they're going to look at the simplicity of it. They want to go to the very end, which is fine, because there's answers for that. A handful of worrying things with this thought process, and I think this is the next wave of opposition to faith, in a sense. It's they believe in God, they believe you can have a relationship with God, but they don't want to objectify who that God is. They want to take the things they like. People who think this way want to take the things they like about different religions, or like that, I like that, different thoughts, different thought process, or I like that, and mold and create their own God. So they're molding and morphing and forming their own idea of God, which to the true God is offensive. You could say that's offensive, that's idolatry. You create an idea of God. And I think one of the main things why people don't like to subscribe to Christianity, to Jesus, is because ultimately Jesus exposes all of our lifestyles. He does. Because there's no other perfect person ever to exist. So if you look at him and look at his life, look at the way he lived as an example, it kind of highlights the muckiness and dirt that we all have, right? And that's uncomfortable. You know what? That's fine to feel uncomfortable and to kind of not like that at first. Because if you've never had that presented, you're not going to like it, right? You're not going to like the fact that sin exists. You're not going to like the fact that you're not the main priority. You're not going to like the fact that God isn't your boyfriend. Do you know what I mean? God isn't this, oh God, I love you, make my life good. Do you know what I mean? God is a real being who wants a relationship with you, who knows the best for your life, wants to guide you through that, and ultimately wants to do that in this life wants you to live a life close enough to him to truly have a relationship with him. So then when we get to the next life, when we get to the next step after this life, to eternity, he can welcome you home. Instead of, oh God, I knew you. And he says, no, you never knew me. You had an idea of me, but you didn't know me. You didn't want to accept me. You didn't want to set the price that I paid. I think that's the danger with it. Because I think it's much harder if someone's got this strong form that they've molded a God into, to articulate that that's not true, than the atheism. Someone might disagree. I'd love it if you disagreed and said in the comments and said, do you know what? No, I think it's probably easier if you're going to put it on a scale like that. But I also think the danger in this is they're saying energies, they're using terms like universe, all this kind of stuff. What I believe the danger to this is more than anything is it's true. I believe they're tapping into things that are true. Because if there's a real God, yeah, there's opposition to that God in the spiritual realm. Bible talks about that. Our battle is not against flesh and blood, against spirits, principalities of this world. You know the verse. So if they're truly tapping into things in the early stage and they're getting things out of it, they're deceived. They're not finding the true God. They're finding demons and spirits who also exist and also have a form of power. We need to be aware of that. And that's not anything to be afraid of. Because if we're on the side of the Creator, why should we be afraid of the created? Demons and stuff. These are the created, the fallen angels. We're on the side of the Creator. So there should be no fear there. There should be a discernment and awareness and a level of somewhat, I don't know if respect's the right word, but somewhat like, yeah, this exists and this is a true battle for our souls. So people are truly tapping into things. So if other people are tapping into things, we need to tap into Jesus deeper, man. We need to understand the spiritual warfare, the power of prayer, the power of spending time with God, the power of praying for people, the power of speaking life into people, the power of having theological conversations with friends that like, this is why I believe you're tapping into the wrong things. Ultimately, if people's hearts are open and people are seeking the truth, they'll come home. Other spirituality things, it's not going to fulfill people. So the fulfillment everyone's running after, everyone's chasing in whatever area they run to, you'll get to the end of the string and realise, no, I'm not fulfilled unless there's Christ at the end of it. So I think as a community, as Christians, as Bible believers, as Jesus followers, should be aware of this and not dismiss it and not just dismiss people and say, no, it's not true. No, you're just talking rubbish. Have a bit of passion, have a bit of compassion for people's journey, but know the truth and don't be timid to speak the truth into that scenario, because you could point someone straight back to Jesus. And that's the encouraging part. Like, it'd be sick to know your thoughts. What are your thoughts on spirituality and all these kind of things? Because it's a massive thing nowadays. It's massive. You see so many YouTube, so many famous people are well into it because they feel like they're getting some out of it, or they are getting some out of it, but from the wrong side. So it'd be interesting to know your thoughts. Drop them in the comments, drop a like. If you enjoyed the video, subscribe. For more videos like this. And for now, I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.